Alright, so the Clippers and Mavericks are going to meet in the 2-7 matchup. And as probably all of us can agree, the Clippers probably have the best roster when you're just considering guys like 1 through 11 on their team. So the Mavericks have their work cut out for them. Specifically Luka, who has been great in the bubble, great all year, an MVP candidate at 21 years old. The last person to even be in that conversation is probably LeBron at that age. But the Clippers might be the antithesis for Luka if there is one, because obviously they have three really solid defenders. Well, really two amazing defenders, and then throw Marcus Morris in there that are Luka size, can hang with Luka in the paint and in the perimeter. So Paul George, Kawhi, Marcus Morris. I think if Montrezl Harrell gets back into the bubble, I think he can even be able to take Luka on switches. It's going to be a tough going for Luka, and I'm worried for his sake that this is definitely going to be the most intense high-level basketball he's ever played in his life. He's not going to get the same kind of looks he's been getting all year, and I think he's going to really come crashing down to earth. And maybe this becomes one of those moments where 15 years down the line we're like, man, Luka really learned a lot the year he got waxed by Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers in the first round. But maybe not. Maybe Luka starts his GOAT campaign this year and shocks us all. But I highly, highly doubt it. Because looking at this Mavericks roster outside of Luka, KP is obviously really kind of coming into his own, or at least for the Mavericks in the bubble and towards the end of the season too. Tim Hardaway Jr. is streaky, and he's going to play a huge role. Seth Curry is going to have to continue to shoot 45% from three, which is great, by the way. Seth Curry, really underrated career so far. And Dorian Finney-Smith. Poor Dorian Finney-Smith is probably going to draw the Kawhi matchup. And when Kawhi's not on the floor, he's going to draw the Paul George matchup. So it's going to be a lot to ask of this Mavericks team to really compete in this series, I think. I think their one bright spot could be KP. I don't think the Clippers have anybody that can really match up with his size and speed. They're probably going to put Zubats on him to start the games, but Zubats isn't fast enough and won't be able to guard KP on the perimeter. If Montrezl Harrell is back, I think Montrezl Harrell will probably have an easier job guarding Kristaps, just because I think Montrez can get really physical with Kristaps, and that's kind of the way to throw him off his game. If you try to play a finesse game with him, you're just kind of playing into his hands, But hey, there might not even be Montrezl Harrell in this series, so that might be a big break for Dallas, and Kristaps might be able to have 2 or 3 really big games, and they might be able to steal a couple in this series. Defensively, though, I don't want to say the matchups favor LA all the time. The big one I'm looking at is Kristaps has really not been great guarding the pick and roll this year. We just watched Dame drop 61, basically because Kristaps had to drop on all the pick and rolls, and if he got up at all, Dame would blow right by him without even a running start. Dame just standing still could get by KP in like 3 steps. So that's going to be difficult, especially when Lou Williams comes in and they start to try to pick and roll the Mavericks to death. Luckily for Kristaps, Kawhi and PG aren't really, they do run the pick and rolls, but they're not really high usage pick and roll players. I think especially Kawhi definitely loves to ISO a lot more than that, and it's not like the Clippers have a great screener on their team, like they don't have a Nurkic or a Steven Adams or a Jokic on their team. Joakim Noah maybe can fit that mold, but it still remains to be seen how many playoff minutes Noah's going to get, and we've just seen him for 8 games in the bubble, so I don't want to expect too much out of him. But that's what the Mavericks have to lean on. They gotta hope the Clippers don't exploit that weakness for the entire time, and they gotta hope offensively KP can just go off and just use his height and his shooting ability to. He's probably gonna have to average 40, and I'm not. That's not hyperbole. I think he's literally going to have to average 40 points for the Mavericks to stay in the game, because I don't think Doncic is going to be able to score like that going against two of the 5 best wing defenders in the league, you know? And as far as will the Mavericks defense present any problems to the Clippers, I hate to say it, but absolutely not. Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the league right now. Yeah, I said it. LeBron is not. LeBron don't want it with Kawhi. He really don't. I know Kawhi got some big stops, and I might even be contradicting myself when I made the Lakers Clippers video. But it's been a long time since we've seen Kawhi Leonard lose in the playoffs. This dude is at another level, and I don't see anybody on this Mavericks roster that can even bother him. You know, Dorian Finney-Smith is your best hope. Dwight Powell being injured for the Mavericks might really show in this series. You know, it's a big loss. He's a really versatile defender, rim runner, gives them vertical spacing. So that really stinks. And he tore his Achilles, so I don't even know if Dwight Powell's ever really going to come back. But yeah, if I was a betting man, I would probably bet Clippers sweep this series.